the greatest asset you have is you. You're never going to out-earn you. You're never going to out-earn your knowledge. So, so that rather than investing in material stuff, that will just give you like an instant gratification. Once you invest in yourself, in your health, in your mindset, in your education, and I don't mean informal education. I'm talking about self-education, which will will lead to fortunes, as Jim Rohn said. So I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, people need to invest in themselves.
This is BetterWealth with Caleb Williams. Sam, my man, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Caleb.
So obviously you have a lot going on in your world. I have to say I'm a huge fan of health. I see a chiropractic. I'm actually a big fan of the Atlas and all that stuff. We don't have to go into the weeds there. But the other thing is my dad has done a ton of research, has a PhD in molecular biology. So I grew up in a weird household where we talked a lot about healthy lifestyle. What I love about you is you have so many things going on. How would you share your story in like 3 or 4 minutes to kind of give people context of who you really are? And then what I'm hoping to do is really dive into how you think about, number one, your number one asset, which is yourself, and money and all that kind of good, rich topics.
Great question. I would say, the way I look at myself is an immigrant who came to the United States to escape the war and for a better opportunity, who faced so many obstacles in the way, but all the obstacles weren't in the way; they were the way. And through just persistence and resilience and stubbornness, if you will, was able to make his passion, which is fitness, into his paycheck. And now, not only his passion is his paycheck, but also his passion has helped hundreds of thousands of people, live a better life.
I love that, man. When it comes to, I know you talked about you being an immigrant coming in. I know there's a lot that has shaped who you are. And I know there's a lot to you. And the reason I like getting background is this will essentially be the foundation that you answer your questions on and how you're having an impact. I mean, dude, you're doing so many things. I had a moment today where I just started going through your social media and just watching all the things that you have been able to accomplish. Has there been anything as you look back on like parts of your life that you go like you reference it's because of it's not against you, it actually worked for you? What anything more to your story that has shaped who you are and that's really relevant to what you're doing now?
Oh my God, so many things. I don't know where to start, but I would say one of the biggest things that shaped who I was when I got cut from the basketball team, in 8th grade. And I was just new to this country. And I went to my mom crying. I told her, I don't want to be in the United States anymore. I want to go home. Nobody likes me. I'm getting called names and bullied and ridiculed. And my mom said three things to me. First, she said, first of all, we can't go back. We can't as refugees, which is a concept of burning the boats, doing the best that you can with what you have right now. And then she also said something to me after that. She said, Sam, if you want to be a basketball player, you can. You just have to be willing to put in the work. And then after that, she said, if you're willing to put in the work, let's put a plan together. And we put a plan together and we executed a plan. So that was like a defining moment in my life where it kind of shaped me to this day, putting a plan together. Every single day I have a plan to this day. Every single day I get up and have a purpose. Every single day, I'm like, hey, if I'm going to do something, I'm not going to give myself a way out. I'm going to do it.
I love it. I think if we can dive into having a plan, having a purpose every day, what does your morning routine look like? And what framework do you usually wake up with? And what do you do in the morning to really make sure that you maximize your day?
So my morning routine starts the night before. The night before is where I actually print out my schedule for the day. And I don't have it on my phone. I love it to look at like this because when I look at my phone, notifications and all that kind of stuff kick in. So I want to look at it as a bird eye view of what I'm going to have to do next. So I printed out, put my clothes out for the gym the night before, and kind of look at what I need to do. So I have an idea subconsciously what I need to do, what I need to prepare for. So then, I get up at 4 in the morning, and when I get up in the morning, first thing that I do, I think about what I'm grateful for. And I jump in the pool, I jump in the cold pool, and, I take my vitamins and get dressed. I go to the gym, 5 to about 6:30. I work out with weights. Then 6:30 to about 8, I take the walk, take the baby and the dog for a walk. And then from 8 till about 3, I work. I work from home. And then from 3 on is all family time.
I love it, man. Talk about cold therapy. I'm a huge fan of this. I actually take a cold shower every morning. It's funny. I was just on a show this morning, and someone asked me about my morning routine, and I mentioned that as well as gratitude and journaling. Talk about that, and then also I have another health hack question after that as well.
Sure. What was the question?
About cold therapy.
Oh, well, I think that when I talk to some of the most experts in the world, they agree that the only way that your body is going to get better and your mind is to be able to give it controlled stress. And whenever think about it. Look at, we work out and we get these calluses, right? The reason you have these calluses is for your, body to, be able to protect it from the heavy weight that you're going to be able to do. And when you do that to your body, like cold therapy, it kind of gives you acute stress, and then your body has to get stronger. Your immune system has to build up to be able to combat that. Even not just cold therapy, even hot therapy. Hot therapy, being a sauna is been proven, to make you better and make it up. But you can do both. I do both actually. I jump in the cold pool, then I jump in the hot sauna, then I jump in the cold pool, and I jump in the hot sauna. So I take it a step further than that. So I call it shock therapy.
I love it. And there's a lot there. And if you're listening to this or watching this, like I would just encourage you to do the research, because on my list is the sauna, and just that cold and hot is definitely huge. One question that I ask people that are in your space that are super passionate about health is, if all you had is $10,000, and we're not talking about the diet of what you're eating, but if all you had is $10,000, what would you invest in as it relates to biohacking your body?
If I had $10,000 and I had to invest in biohacking,
right?
What would I want to invest? Oh God, that's a great question. Nobody's ever asked me that question before. I would do it so many different ways, but I would love to invest in hacking sleep. Because I think the whole science of it, we still don't know everything that happens during the sleep. Especially when we were talking about stage 4 and REM sleep and all the recuperative things that it brings to you. I think that's huge. Obviously, man, diet is also another thing. And how to balance between cell autophagy, and also be able to grow muscles. You know what I mean? Because it's kind of like two different worlds.
Yeah. When it comes to sleep, any insights, like how much sleep do you get? What do you make sure? Because this is something that I've been doing more and more research, and there's like two camps of thought. There's like the miracle morning thought where it's like, get up an hour earlier. And I know you're an early riser. But then there's also a lot like, listen, sleep is so important. It's one of these magical things. So how do you describe sleep? And I know it's one thing that you said that you would invest in. What do your routines look like right now?
So right now I get about 7 hours of sleep. I go to bed at 9. I get up at 4. And I know if I'm getting the right amount of sleep, if I get up, I'm like, did I dream? Right? Because at least I know I had that REM sleep, which we all need. And if I dreamt all night, then I know I got real good sleep. You know what I mean? And if I didn't dream that night, then I'm like, you know what? Something was off with my sleep. And you got good sleep when you wake up and you actually have a hard time getting up.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? because
Yeah.
that's when you know you went to deep sleep. Because if you're on a light sleeper, you get up, you get right up,
Yeah.
right? But if you get up, you're like, oh man, gosh, it's time to get up already. That's when that means you were in deep sleep and you had them REM sleep. So that's kind of slowly how to gauge, because you want to make sure that you're dreaming, because that's where REM sleep, that's where all the recuperation happens, especially for your central nervous system and your brain. And yeah, man, I think if I had to go from, there's no camps. At different times in your life, you want to do different things. When I was younger, I was willing to sacrifice sleep for money, getting up and hustling and making money and stuff like that. Right now, I'm not. I don't. Right now I'm at a point in my life that I want to make sure that I get plenty of sleep, because I want to make sure I'm my best for my children. If I'm really tired and I'm a little grumpy because I didn't get enough sleep, I'm not around best for my family either. So I want to make sure, I'm on peak state, not only just to make money, but also, be around family and be around loved ones.
Before we jump into the whole money conversation, because obviously this is the Better Wealth podcast, I love hearing people's hacks as it relates to how they think about their money and what they're doing. Can you give an overview of what Camp Transformation Center is? And because I know that you're a co-founder of that.
Yeah, Camp Transformation Center is our brainchild. Me and my business partner, we came up with after the recession. After the recession, we were doing one-on-one personal training. Nobody could afford it at that time. Nobody could afford $400, $500, $600, $800. So we came up with group training concepts, and we came up with a proprietary weight loss challenge. And right now we have over 100 locations, and we have helped over 100,000 people, get in great shape and lose weight and transform their bodies.
That's incredible, and there's a lot that we could go into there. I'm tempted to, but due to time, I'm gonna stick to the whole money thing. So being a multi-million-dollar entrepreneur, I think that's really interesting. But what I also find interesting is you have strong boundaries. I mean, one thing that caught my eye is you're able to check off of work, and which is really interesting because I am in a season of my life where it's hard for me to do that. So there's something I can learn there. But when it comes to wealth, if someone comes to you and says, "Hey, I want to learn the secret of how to become wealthy," how do you start having that conversation? What framework, what paradigm, where do you begin with that person?
So the first thing we have to do if you want to get wealthy, we have to start building a good relationship with money. Because if you don't have a good relationship with money, then no matter what you do, you won't have you won't build wealth. Okay. So, for many years, I didn't have a good relationship with money because I was so poor. For me, material stuff meant success. For me, well, the Ferrari meant success. The designer stuff meant success. Once you understand that, money is just equals freedom. Basically everybody wants money. The reason you want money is not because you want Lamborghini. It's not like because you want, this and that, or you want the jewelry or you want the Rolex. The reason everybody really wants money is because they don't want to be a slave. They want to have freedom. Once you establish that, then you come up with a plan. And you have to be a balanced plan. It has to be a balanced plan between kind of like, hey, man, I'm actually enjoying the fruits of my labor, and also I'm strategic enough to put some money away, and invest money and put money away for a rainy day, and that's where people get kind of mess up. We live in a capitalistic society where, and we live in a very materialistic society.
Yeah.
Where everybody just looks at, oh my God, I have iPhone 10, but I need the new one that just came out. Hey, I have, 20 pairs of shoes, but I need another one. And once you are comfortable with just being you and not really pleasing everybody else, and, not living for the outside world and living for you and your future, that's when you kind of give yourself permission to have freedom and do the right thing with money. And money, a lot of people, we want to make money. 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 And making money and building a business is kind of like the same thing, right? Building a business, what do you want to do? When you want to build a business, you want to get in more customers than you lose, right? And so you can build, you kind of fill out the bathtub.
Right.
And building wealth, you want to get in more money than you spend. So this way you can build that kind of bathtub up, right?
Right.
And most people just want to make more money, make more money. But the problem is when they make money, they start spending more. So if they say, let's just say they make $10,000 a month, they spend, 9,000 or 10,000. They make 20,000, they spend 19,000, whatever. So that's why, I forgot the exact statistics, but I heard like when you're 65, like 90% of Americans don't have $1,000 in their bank account.
Yeah, that's bad.
I don't know the exact statistics, but it's something bad like that. I forgot the exact numbers, and so it's kind of sad when you've been in the greatest country in the world, for 65 years, and all you did is consume.
Yeah.
And you have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest books that I've read, and it's called the Marshmallow Test. And I think you know what that means. Marshmallow Test is basically a test they did in Stanford in the 40s, and showing that delayed gratification is the key to success. And I can't agree with that more. If you're able to delay gratification means giving up something that you want now for something greater later. And that's the real key to success in life. So the way you build wealth is obviously increasing your skills, solving big problems so that you can demand the most amount of money. A person that solves a big problem, that's the person who makes money.
Yeah.
Right. So when you solve a problem and you figure out what people want, what problem can you solve for people, how can you help people? The more people you help, the more money you make. The bigger problem you solve, the bigger money you make. You make that money, and then you balance it with, hey man, I make the money, but that doesn't mean I got to go throw it out. I mean, it's not burning home at all. Let me invest it. Let me do the right thing for it. Let me save it. That's how you really build wealth.
Yeah, I love that answer. We've had multiple people on the show talk about value, talk about that money follows value. And I love how you answered that in a way, you didn't even say value, but you said it. And that's so key. And then the other thing about mindset, you use the word consumption, and a lot of people just are making money to consume. We actually have a tool at BetterWealth that shows you the difference between how much you're saving and how much you're consuming. And then we show you on a graph, when you factor in inflation, how much money you just need to make just to keep with your current consumption. Yeah. What we find is majority of people, 98% of people that we look into, run out of money, like literally run out of money at a future date, because that ratio is so out of whack. And what's interesting is you can factor 3% inflation rate, which is quite high when you factor that over your life. But in lifestyle inflation is like blows it out of the water.
Yeah. I have something I call the E.V.E. ratio. That's education versus entertainment. Okay. And if you're lopsided and you spending more time, entertainment and education or doing something that will better your future, then you're lopsided as well. Yeah. So the E.V.E. ratio is education versus entertainment.
I love it. I love it. And I want to just challenge the people watching this or listening to this is like, where do you fall on that? Yeah. So what I want to do is go through our 4 principles, and I would love to get an idea of your comments or your advice on each principle. So principle number 1 of Better Wealth is you are your greatest asset. So I believe wholeheartedly that people should be investing in themselves, and most people in the way that they think about their life are devaluing their number 1 asset. When it comes to investing in yourself, I know that's such a cliche statement. How would you recommend somebody start with how in the world do you invest in yourself and make sure that you are not devaluing the number 1 person in your life?
It's a great question. And I cannot agree with it more. I see it all the time. I see, I see people coming in with a Range Rover and a Louis Vuitton bag or a Gucci bag, but they don't want to invest in a gym membership, but they're overweight, out of shape, and literally borderline diabetes and high blood pressure. So, the greatest asset you have is you. You're never going to out-earn you. You're never going to out-earn your knowledge. So that rather than investing in material stuff, I would just give you like an instant gratification. Once you invest in yourself, in your health, in your mindset, in your education, and I don't mean informal education. I'm talking about self-education, which will lead to fortunes, as Jim Rohn said. So I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, people need to invest in themselves, and I learned that gosh, I talk to young guys like you, and I'm just so impressed because I didn't even know that concept till I was 32.
Wow.
I didn't even know that concept till I was 32. It's funny. I was the guy who was running around, with a $3,000 rims on his cars, and a $3,000 stereo system, but I wasn't buying books, so once I educated myself, and thank God, I'm always constantly trying to improve. I'm like, man, but I see guys like you now, you guys at this age and this stage, you guys are already onto that. Gosh, man, this life is for you to lose.
I love that. I love that. The second principle is all about efficiency. A lot of people in the financial space want to look at products, but I want people to take a step back and start analyzing what's going on. And so I believe you can be efficient and optimize 3 areas of your life when it comes to your money: your cash flow, your assets, and the debts that you currently have. When it comes to helping people optimize their cash flow, assets, and debts, is there any hacks, any thoughts as it relates to what you've been doing in your life in that area?
For me, cash flow, is obviously, we all know increasing your skills and make more money. Okay. But things that what we don't do is all the little BS that you don't think adds up. Okay. And I think, everybody recommends, every financial book that I've read sometimes recommends, hey man, cut out your credit card, cut out one of your credit card and just, just so you don't have it, and just cancel it, and just see how many recurring stuff you got that you don't really need. You know what I mean? And I still do that every once in a while. This little $19, little $29, little $9, little $10, all that stuff adds up.
Yep.
And it's not like the money that you save that you gain is the money that you save that you didn't invest, which can compound to so much more money that you didn't have. So that's a little hack as far as cash flows is concerned. The little hack that I've done with my children and myself is, as soon as my children were born, my children were born, I started a investment account and a 529 account for them, and automatically each month, a certain amount of money goes to each children. I don't even have control or a way to stop it. I don't even have the password to those accounts. I have it somewhere, but I just don't know where it is. So I can't even stop it. So over the years now, they have accumulated a significant amount of money for the future. Sometimes you have to put systems in place to get out of your own way.
Yep.
God knows there was a couple of times, man, I was like, man, I could use that money, but I'm like, I can't. I don't have it. I don't know it. It's gone.
Yeah.
And as far as assets are concerned,
And
I totally believe that you have to have a balanced approach between savings, assets, and cash flow. Now, assets to me needs to be real assets. And there's a lot of different controversies. Like, if is a house an asset? Is this an asset? Is that has asset? Some people, like Grant Cardone says, all right, man, no, don't own a home, and kind of, rent your place and just own buildings and all that kind of stuff. Well, I love Grant, but I don't think everything he says is gospel. I would like to have a home that I own free and clear, because I like to know if hell freezes over, my kids don't have to move.
right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, that's those 3.
Thank you for that. So the third principle is all about being consistent. And I talk about consistency, and what I do for the audience is I take C squared. And a lot of times we need to be consistent over time, which is compounding. But then we also have to be consistent short term, which is control. And I bet your wealth was not created by compound interest. It was created by control. But the compound effect of you making decisions every single day have been really powerful. And it's evident that you're totally dominating. When it comes to the principle of consistency as it relates to your money on a long-term and short-term basis, anything there?
Absolutely. And I give you like my kids' 529 account, for as an example that we're talking about, right? So I consistently put a couple of $1,000s a month for each kid, right? And they each have about they each have about $400,000 in their account, right? But from the coronavirus, they took a dip, right? So I think we lost about $100,000 there. But when I look at how much I put in versus how much money he has, the compound is greater than what I put in still, even at
Right.
the worst condition. So to me, you said something that it made a lot of sense to me. And the compound effect. And I know you read the book. Have you read the book? I know you
Yep.
read the book. You know, so Darren Hardy, interviewed some of the top performers, whether it's financial, business, or athletes, and they found out that small things over time leads to big results. That's what you talked about.
Yep. And he also talks about that it could be anything that you do is you're not just staying still, you're either compounding head or it's working against you. And I think that's very true as it relates to your money and as it relates to the way that you spend your time and how you think. Finally, we believe that your greatest financial need is using money. It's counterintuitive to a lot of what people think, but what are you investing in now when it comes to helping you get the kind of results that you want? Like, how are you using your money? How are you thinking about it? And what investments are you making where you're seeing massive results?
So right now, the investment I'm doing a lot of is I'm flipping real estate. So I've been doing that for a while. And right now, I'm investing money in stocks. The stock market is down compared to what it was a few years ago. It's just a matter of time. I've learned, if you look at the history, it has a blueprint. It has a blueprint. Warren Buffett says that, some new investors every so often learn a very old lesson because they don't see the ups and downs in the economy.
Yeah.
And you have to understand something about economy. When going is good, it's not always going to be good.
Yeah.
And when things are bad, it's not always going to be bad.
Yeah. 100%. I love that. How much are you investing in your business compared to other investments?
I'm investing always a lot more in my business, because your business is what you know the best.
Yeah.
So I know that if I invest X amount of dollars in my business, it's going to give me the highest return on investment than any other company or stocks because I'm running the business.
Yep. I'm glad that you pointed that out because that's something that I've seen a lot of business owners say one thing but do the exact opposite with their money. And there's not a blueprint, but I think there's a lot of businesses that are underfunded, and it just shows you like where your beliefs really held. And I just find that interesting. As we wrap up, how do you define better wealth?
Better wealth. That's a great question. I think better wealth is about being balanced, about not only having money, but having peace of mind, having freedom, because you invested in your wealth and you invested in a way that serves you. I know so many wealthy people that don't have peace of mind. I mean, I know so many people that are just always constantly, their mind is working, their mind, and there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, wealth and success means freedom. Like you were telling me before, like, obviously you're young right now, you're in your building season, right? And I encourage you to always build right now and be able to, do what you need to do right now to get. And I was once like you. I was just once like you. I was always going, always going, always going. But at this stage of my life, I want to be able to turn it off. Right after you have another interview, and right after that is I have to go pick up my daughter after to school and take her to soccer, swimming, and guess what? My phone's going to be off.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be at the soccer on my phone because I want her to watch me, look at her.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what better wealth is all about.
Yeah, I love that. And you said it earlier in this interview too. It's freedom. I think that's what people really want, and they can't articulate that. But what I find is like if you don't have clarity on where you want to go, a lot of times you're on this treadmill, you're chasing the wrong thing. This is something to think about. Last question: You're with your family, the people that you love the most, and you know that this is your last day on earth, and you have one last conversation. What are you going to make sure to share in that last conversation with your loved ones in all the things that you've learned up until now in your life?
Regarding finances or regarding
Just
anything?
life. Yeah.
If I had to, this is something that I tell my children all the time. This is really simple, but it's very basic. You know what I mean? Very basic. And I always tell them, treat people like you want to be treated. And I think if everybody does that, everybody, when you're talking to someone, put yourself in the other person's. Do I like the tone? Do I like my voice? What I do? And if you just do that, I think the world will be such a better place.
I love that, man. I love that. How can people find out more about what you're doing, follow your work, and get just tapped into the work that you're doing?
No, I appreciate it, man. You can just Google my name. All my social media handles are the same. Sam Bakhtair, Bakhtiar. I also have a community line. They can text me directly at 909-200-4015.
I love that, man. You won't be responding when you're on the soccer field, but I appreciate the heart that you come, and like, I think there's so much to learn, and there's a common theme in all the people that I've interviewed that have had success is they have crystal clarity on their life. They're investing in themselves in the way that you just sleep, in the way that you eat, the way that you work out. But you're also holding really true to your family and the people that are most important to you. And you understand this idea of value, buying low, selling high. And it's all the same stuff, and it's communicated in different ways. And I really appreciate your time and the work that you have and how you show up.
No, I appreciate you, Caleb. Thank you for having me on the show, and thank you for doing what you're doing for the community. And gosh, man, thank you for being such a young man with such a high aspirations. And gosh, man, I wish I was like you when I was your age. So God bless. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for listening to the BetterWealth podcast. It would mean the world to me if you could hit subscribe, leave a review, and share this with the people that you know and love.